Before we begin the video, we want to let you know this is not tax advice. This video is for educational and learning purposes only. Now, the important disclaimer is out of the way.
A new year is on the horizon, and it will bring with it the start of Indonesia's new Voluntary Disclosure Program, which is part of the new Harmonized Tax Law. Many are applauding the new program, saying it gives businesses a chance to become compliant while also helping to boost the state budget. Others remain skeptical. Success from the government's point of view will require high participation, so a substantive amount of underpaid tax is disclosed. This will result in higher additional tax payments at a time when the state is in significant need of revenue as the pandemic continues to wreak havoc around the world. While the VDP has the potential to bring much-needed funds to programs and operations, which will ultimately help Indonesia's economy, certain flaws might make taxpayers hesitant. For the corporate taxpayers, tax years that fall under the Statute of Limitations are one example. Cost is another issue. This is Guma Consult, and we're going to discuss an interesting perspective that remains taboo for the past 6 months. Does Voluntary Disclosure Program need to be more appealing to the taxpayers? To increase participation, the VDP can become more attractive to taxpayers with the implementation of a few additional measures, specifically transparency and thought leadership. However, law enforcement is not the way to drive voluntary tax compliance. From individual taxpayers' perspective, it is crystal clear that VDP is extremely beneficial for them. But how about the corporate taxpayers? Now that's what the public call interesting. One of the main drawbacks for participating in the program is disclosure involving fiscal years that have reached the Statute of Limitation. From a benefit standpoint, when taxpayers recall the tax periods between 2012 and 2015, the benefit of disclosing unpaid taxes is arguably zero because the government may not open any dispute cases against offending businesses. The government has been hesitant to address this flaw in the VDP, focusing more on technical rationality, specifically tariffs and the tax base. But taxpayers want transparency. The government could start to focus more on substantive rationality, which should cover 3 areas that are expected to affect participation the most: cost, benefits, and risks. Cost is something many businesses are concerned with the most. When looking at cost versus benefit, the cost is arguably high for businesses who do not have proper financial record keeping. Starting to build a compliance-ready balance sheet and profit and loss statement for closed tax years is time-consuming and expensive. Businesses must bear those costs themselves. Focusing on closed tax years as opposed to open tax years that are not covered under the VDP makes the entire program less attractive for corporate taxpayers. Though costs are a factor, a business can benefit in the long run by taking care of issues during the 6-month VDP timeline. VDP offers businesses a chance to avoid tax crimes, and Directorate General of Taxes (DGT) made it concise to the public. One of the categories of tax crime is if the taxpayer performed inaccurate financial record keeping, accounting, or bookkeeping intentionally. Interpreting what is intentional from the Harmonized Tax Law have a clear standard. 4th-time tax collection letter issuance due to inaccurate internal accounting process might be deemed as intentional incorrect reporting that triggers tax crimes formality. Above all else, law enforcement should not be an option for driving voluntary tax compliance. To persuade those that are skeptical about participating in the VDP, the DGT should expand collaboration with top-tier corporate leaders, successful startup figures, consultants, business incubators and accelerators, and other relevant business influencers to drive interest in the program. The government has already been planning a cooperation with various associations such as the Indonesian Business Association, or APindo, and the Indonesian Chamber of Commerce and Industry. Since the VDP has limited benefits for corporate taxpayers, a thought leadership campaign is a smart idea. But the DGT should not limit collaborations to only APindo and Indonesian Commerce Chamber. By expanding the reach of the campaign, they can create a strong message about reaching business sustainability through excellent financial record keeping and commitment to compliance. Thought leadership is a tactic that marketers use to build credibility for their brand. In this regard, the DGT's branding and message can combine accounting and compliance with business sustainability. This is an indirect approach that focuses on how accounting plays a vital role in running a business. Not only does it help businesses track income and expenditures, it ensures statutory compliance and provides investors, management, and the government with quantitative financial information that can be used in business decisions. The DGT can also emphasize that a commitment to compliance will enable the taxpayer to avoid unplanned cash outflow from future unreserved tax payments and extra costs from sanctions and penalties. With technological advances and social media at our fingertips, thought leadership campaigns are more impactful during this era of personalized content marketing. Brute force is not. Data shows that market segmentation in Indonesia is 30% micro, less than 50 million in assets, which make up the majority of businesses. These businesses need access to distributors, personal safety, and corporate taxation. Taxation is among the top 5 needs of businesses, showing that taxpayers want to comply, but they need trust and transparency to do so. A solid and well-thought-out campaign can clarify the purpose of the VDP, strengthen the DGT's voice, build an approachable presence, and create mentorship opportunities, especially through collaborations. Law enforcement will only make taxpayers and businesses more hesitant and resistant. The VDP is a chance for the government to boost funding for needed resources while providing businesses a 6-month window to become compliant. But the DGT must make it more appealing through thought leadership. Flaws and drawbacks in the program need to be publicly addressed through substantive rationality, and campaigns must bring in a variety of collaborators that can spread positive messages that appeal to today's audience. Brute force through law enforcement should be avoided if the DGT wants to gain trust and show people how the VDP and Harmonized Tax Law will ultimately benefit Indonesia in the coming years. After all, the next 5 to 10 years will determine if Indonesia's economy has what it takes to gain the coveted developed country status. So, what do you think about all of this? Is VDP attractive enough for you to participate in? Or is it extremely beneficial for you? Let us know in the comments section below. Make sure you like it, as now you know that compliance culture is not an overnight homework. Why not subscribe, as we will keep on bringing you more great videos like this. Until next time, see ya!